Hello, my name is Sophia Flesch, and I am excited to present my proposal for a study that assesses the effect of a plant-based diet intervention in newly diagnosed type 2 diabetics. In the last 10 years, the prevalence of diabetes in the United States has increased by 3.1%. 3.1% of the current U.S. population is approximately 10 million individuals and does not include the 7.2 million that go undiagnosed. Correspondingly, the implementation of plant-based diets has also increased by almost 5% in the last 10 years. Globally, the U.S. consumes more plant-based proteins than any other region, as individuals believe it elicits not only numerous health and social benefits, but allows for a permanent lifestyle change. Therefore, this proposal addresses the research question of, can a plant-based diet manage blood glucose control in newly diagnosed type 2 diabetics? This question will be evaluated by examining the hemoglobin A1C in a sample population of middle-aged adults prior and following the study. One of the key definitions for this study is a plant-based diet. While most diets are defined by what they exclude, a plant-based diet is defined by what it includes. It encourages plant foods in their whole form, such as vegetables, fruits, legumes, seeds, and nuts. Typically, this diet limits animal products, which is why the term plant-based is often used synonymously with a vegan diet. The second key definition for this study is blood glucose control. Blood glucose control is measured via the hemoglobin A1C test, which is a blood test that provides information on individuals' average blood glucose over the past 3 months. It is the primary test used for diabetes management and can be used for diagnosis as well. Through a thorough literature review using Google Scholar and PubMed of scholarly articles published within the past 5 years, there has been significant research published on the benefits of a plant-based diet intervention and its relationship to the prevention, treatment, and reduction of diabetes-related complications. Specifically, the Mediterranean diet proved to be the most effective dietary intervention to improve glycemic control in type 2 diabetics, while the vegetarian diet was described as one of the top most effective ways to reduce fasting glucose. Lastly, since the vegan and vegetarian diets are almost used synonymously with the term plant-based, these diets were also associated with a lower risk of type 2 diabetes. The American Diabetes Association, or ADA, also outlines a specific standard of care for diabetes. It requires the care to be patient-centered and includes collaboration from all members of the interdisciplinary team. The ADA standard of care outlines the need for immunization vaccinations, a reduction in the amount of time spent sedentary, daily exercise if possible, or not letting more than 2 days pass between exercises, weight loss, especially if the individual is overweight or obese, cessation of any and all tobacco use, and a Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean diet differs from a plant-based diet as it allows for a low to moderate amount of dairy intake, such as those you get from cheese and yogurt, a small amount of red meat and eggs, and a moderate amount of seafood. Given these emergent themes in the literature, the research moving forward seeks to explore a plant-based diet's effects on hemoglobin A1C. Therefore, the goal of this study is to reject the following null hypothesis, that a plant-based diet will not change hemoglobin A1C. This study is of experimental design and will use quantitative analysis to assess participants' hemoglobin A1C, as well as any anthropometric data collected in each visit and follow-up visit, such as height, weight, and BMI. Participants' level of physical activity will also be noted. Participants for this study will be middle-aged male or female adults, as this is the most diagnosed age group for type 2 diabetes. Participants can choose to participate via a written informed consent form and can be recruited by a personal or peer referral or a recommendation by a healthcare provider. Using a G-power calculation of medium effect size, an error of probability of 0.05, and an estimated power of 0.95, suggests that the minimum population required for this study to be statistically significant is 210. A team of 6 registered dietitian nutritionists will spearhead the data collection and analysis process. All quantitative data required for this study will also be collected via the participant's healthcare provider. Healthcare providers will also assign each participant an identification number to ensure confidentiality. Furthermore, only one researcher on the team will have access to the participant ID numbers on a password-protected computer. Participant ID numbers will also be associated with patient's age, anthropometric measurements, and lab values to be assessed. Lab values and ID numbers will come pre-identified from the healthcare provider. For analysis, an independent t-test will be used to determine if there is statistical difference between two group means. Therefore, for the purpose of this study, individuals who receive the standard of care versus individuals who receive the standard of care with a plant-based diet prescription. Then, testing the hemoglobin A1C levels prior and following to the study in order to calculate a mean average. For discussion purposes, there are several key strengths in this study. The topic and effect of plant-based diets is important as interest in plant-based diets and plant-based products overall are increasing. This study also builds upon existing research theoretically and methodologically as outlined by the ADA standards of care currently in practice. Lastly, patient education of overall diabetes management is emphasized throughout. The limitations imposed in the study include overall diet adherence to those in both the control and intervention group, and that there is a high number of participants required for the results to be statistically significant. Delimitations or future research opportunities include the potential revision of the ADA standard of care to include plant-based diets as a way to prevent type 2 diabetes or manage type 2 diabetes. Research has indicated that those individuals who restrict the most animal products encounter the maximum number of health benefits. Since this study focuses on middle-aged adults, there is also future research needed for a plant-based diet intervention and adherence in young adults who also present with type 2 diabetes. This concludes the summary of my research proposal. I thank you for your time and I look forward to your feedback.